And after you got better, you went home, opened your email account, and then sent an email to your friends telling them that please be careful if you go to this particular hospital because this is what happened to me. And then, of course, a few weeks later, suddenly, there's a police officer in front of your house knocking at your door, and you went to jail because of that one email. Well, I wouldn't want this case to happen to anyone here, but this actually happened to Rita Mulyasari, who was an Indonesian housewife. She was accused of defaming a hospital, and she ended up being imprisoned and faced a criminal case trial. So the story was actually the same. So she sent emails to her friends describing her unpleasant experience when she was treated at an Indonesian hospital. And then her email, of course, circulated rapidly because her friends forwarded it to other friends and then posted it to blogs and then to mailing lists, and it went viral. And of course the hospital found out about this and it was not happy. So she was reported and she was then arrested and jailed in May 2009, where she would wait for her criminal case trial to take place. Of course, when the news about this poor housewife being treated unfairly got out, a lot of people were outraged, and a lot of those people were bloggers and internet users, and they showed their support, immediately showed their support through Facebook and other online social medias. And then during the course of the case, when the court fined her 2004 204 million rupiahs for damages, so it's approximately $2,000 US dollars, 2,000 US dollars. People got together and they organized the Coins for Justice movement to raise funds to help her, because that is a lot of money and there's no way that she could come up with the money by herself. And then it got bigger and people organized a charity concert where many high-profile Indonesian singers performed for free, and the money raised also went to the cause. In the end, this movement managed to collect approximately 65,000 US dollars in coins and small cash. So it was actually 3 times more than the fine. This was what the Facebook support page looked like. As we can see, at the time when I took the screenshot, there were 388,000 members already, and that is a lot of people in Indonesia. And this is the Coins for Justice page on Facebook, where they organize all news and also all events relating to this movement. And these are some of the coins collected. So as I mentioned, there are a lot of coins. Well, this story ended in a happy ending, obviously. Fortunately, because in the end, because of the support from all the people and also the outrage from everybody, the hospital dropped the charges, and although the court did order Frida to pay the fines, and the fines were actually paid using these coins. I think this is an interesting case because it was the first time in Indonesia that expressing one's opinion through an email resulted in such a thing, being detained and accused of defamation. And the case is a good illustration of the tension between what is public and what is private in the cyber realm. And it is also a good example of the disruption of social norms in Indonesia. So the norms of how people express opinions and complaints, and also how corporations receive and deal with those complaints. And finally, it is also a disruption to the previously unquestioned application of the law on electronic information and transaction. So if this law can cause a common housewife to be detained and then tried in a criminal case trial, then it might also happen to anybody else. And that's what makes a lot of people worried and outraged. So, now apart from those things, this case also showed how the internet was used to demand justice and also to show support to the victim, Prita Mugyasari. And this also ended in a positive outcome, and that's why I'm interested to look at this case. And I want to look at how the internet and convergence contribute to the campaign of Free Prita Mugyasari and how it affects the outcomes of this campaign. So I conducted a case study for this, and I collected data, obviously, from the internet. I looked at the internet pages dedicated to Prita's case, and I also looked at national and international news media from May to December 2009. Now, when I typed Prita Mugyasari to Google, I got a lot of results. So as you can see there, just typing Prita Mugyasari alone pulls out 124,000 results. And that's why I decided to narrow my source for data down. And I decided to look at the main blogs or the pioneers of those people who really showed support for the first time. And also I decided to look at two major national media in Indonesia, which is Kompas and the Jakarta Post. And I also looked at some news reports from foreign media, such as the BBC from the UK, or ABC News, New York Times, CBS News, and Herald Sun and ABC News Australia. These are basically the main internet pages that I used for data collection. So the Facebook site that I showed you previously, and also there are two Facebook sites for coins collection and a Twitter account for the movement as well. And as of now, all of the sites except for the Twitter account are defunct. There's also a special website dedicated to the fundraising, the coin collecting fundraising activities, and I also looked at that. And there was also a Facebook page to boycott the hospital. And finally, I also looked at other related news stories from the media. After going through the data, I found that the internet alone couldn't have produced the positive outcome for Prita, although it did play a major role. Well, the first role is that the internet gave voice to the people and enabled them to form public opinion on the case. So the news about Prita spread in no time, both nationally and internationally, and that, of course, put pressures on the hospital. And also, internet provided a way so that the voice for the community of supporters can have a way to communicate both internally and externally their ideas. So in terms of showing and expressing their support or ideas against the injustice, collecting or donating coins, and organizing everything. The second role is that the internet highlighted the tensions that took place. It enables the supporters to highlight the tensions in the society at that time because they linked this situation, this case, to a threat to the freedom of speech, because the law of electronic translation is ambiguous. It can be interpreted as, as anybody likes it. So experienced the same thing as well. And then they also linked the fact that the corporation is taking advantage of the common people, their oppressive. So the supporters were able to voice their demand for the justice for common people. And this is the symbolism that is taken by the movement, the coins for justice, because the coins represent the common people, small people, and that's why it became a great success, because it really hits home with a lot of Indonesians at that time. Finally, as I have mentioned previously, the internet alone could not have produced this outcome, and there are, of course, other factors, which are the social and cultural contexts. Frida was lucky because she was supported by well-known Indonesian bloggers in the online community. Those bloggers have already established their credibility, and they have social capital. And that's why when they supported Frida, the news can circulate very rapidly, and the support was massive. And the case was also timely because Frida was jailed when the presidential candidates at that time were campaigning, and some of them visited her in jail. And this resulted in a free publicity, which also helped her a lot. So in conclusion, the internet did play a major role in Frida Mulyasari's case, both in causing the problems and mainly in solving them. However, without the offline factors,